What's up, everyone? Welcome to the Power Play with CJ. Today we'll focus in on the Los Angeles Kings 2016-2017 season and what to expect from the team in Hollywood this year. I was obviously out there 2 weeks ago. Staples Center is actually a great facility. Immediately around the area is nice. Once you get like a block away, it's a fucking shithole, but that's neither here nor there. The Kings made it back to the playoffs last year after missing the playoffs in 2015. And, out in 5 to the eventual Western Conference champs, not exactly the way they drew it up, but, it is what it is. People are saying, what's left for this Kings team? I think they got one last run in them. I think they've got one last, let's go for this. We're a good fucking team, in them. And, the fact that they got Andre Kopitar re-signed definitely helped them. They did lose, obviously, Milan Lucic, who was their 4th leading scorer last year. But, there's going to be some holes to fill with the Lucic departure and with, some of the other things that went down. They did add Teddy Purcell. They brought him back to LA. I think he'll be a nice addition in their top 6. He's not the same player he was, the first time around when he was with the Kings. And the fact they traded him for Jeff Halpern is like, what? Holy shit. Back in 2010. So I think Purcell will slide in well, and he could surprise and have a 25-goal season next year. Again, I'm a Teddy Purcell guy. I got to watch him play a lot when I was living in Tampa, and his offensive capabilities are better than he gets credit for. So that's a pretty good addition. They also signed Michael Latta too. I think he'll be a nice depth player, up front. Beyond that, with their forwards, a lot of grit, a lot of tenacity with guys like, Dwight King, like a Jordan Nolan. They were able to re-sign Trevor Lewis, gives you some speed. Definitely a different dynamic. If you're bottom six, you're probably killing. That's going to be something to keep an eye on. Bounce back years from Marian Gaborik and Dustin Brown would be nice. I think Dustin Brown is going to be playing his last year as an LA King, because they're going to put him on waiver. They're going to let him get claimed by Vegas in the expansion draft, and because he's a 2-time Stanley Cup champion, captain to those 2 teams. We'll talk about the C in a second. And the owner Foley's from upstate New York. I think he'll be the first captain of the new Vegas expansion team, and that kind of works out well. The Kings will be able to shed his salary and re-sign guys like Tanner Pearson, like Tyler Toffoli, and keep this nucleus intact. Brown's game seemingly went to hell as soon as he signed that big contract, and it's tough to say that, but it's true, and it's the reality of the situation. So we'll see what happens with his future in Los Angeles. Obviously, he had the C strips from him. Kopitar's going to wear it this year. I think it's never an easy thing, particularly when 2 years ago he was the captain of the Stanley Cup champions for the 2nd time. So, not exactly an easy moment for the Kings, but life isn't easy. You got to make tough decisions. Dean Lombardi and Daryl Sutter, that group, decided it'd be better to have maybe with the C off his chest, he's able to focus on playing hockey. Just focus on the on ice instead of the locker room shit, and maybe stumble his way back into 20 goals. It's possible. They're gonna need someone to be that physical forward that puts pucks in the net, with Milan Lucic taking his talents to Edmonton. So we'll see what happens on that front. Expect a bounce back here from Marian Gaborik. If he's healthy, which with Gaborik is always the billion-dollar question, I think he'll be in that 20 to 25 goal range. And, Andre Kopitar, Jeff Carter, we know how good they are. Toffoli and Tanner Pearson, we know how good they are. So that's the LA Kings forwards for you. On defense, obviously, when you have a guy like Drew Doughty, one of the best in the league, best in the world, Norris Trophy winner, all that. I mean, he's excellent. He's going to go down as one of the all-time greats. He's fine. Rest of the defense, You got Alec Martinez and Jake Muzzin. Both of those guys would be better suited as solid number 3s, but they kind of de facto become number 2s with LA. And then, you got Braden McNabb and 2 depth signings in Gilbert and Trotman this summer. I watched Trotman play a lot for the Bruins, and he's a good player. I mean, I think he's really going to have some success as a 5 or 6 defenseman with the Kings and the way their system works. I think fans in LA will be pleasantly surprised by him. They also still have Matt Green, whose game is gone. I mean, it just seems like, between Gabrick, Brown, and and Green, a lot of the guys they, gave contracts to, contract extensions to between 2013 and 2014, their games just went to hell after that, and it just is what it is. So we'll see what happens. Also got Rob Scuderi around too, but I think he'll be waived at some point next season. It's in the last year of his contract. He's 37 years old, and just he's not the player he was a few years ago, to put it very simply. And then in net, you got Jonathan Quick, you got Jeff Zatkoff. Obviously, Jonathan Quick's number one. And he's an elite goalie. Is Jonathan Quick an elite goalie? Is Joe Flacco an elite quarterback? And then you got Zatkoff, Peter Budaj, and Jack Campbell all pushing for that backup spot. I think Campbell is the long shot to win it, but it's one of the more intriguing storylines for me because I'm really into weird shit like that. Who's the in the NFL preseason, who's going to be the Cincinnati Bengals backup quarterback? Those storylines interest me for whatever reason. I guess I'm just a nerd. But again, I think Campbell has the potential to, maybe if he beats out Zatkoff and Budaj and gets the backup Quick, maybe, he'll show some of the flashes of why he was a first-round pick in 2010. Then again, it could be in the East Coast League next year too, so let's not pretend that's not a possibility. I'm just throwing that out there. I'm not saying, I'm just saying. But we'll see what happens with this team in LA. Right now, I've got them as a top 4 team in the Pacific Division. I think that they've got the experience, the tenacity, and the know-how to go on a lengthy run if given the opportunity. I don't know what Daryl Sutter's coaching future is going to be like. Obviously, he's coaching this year, but there was kind of on the fence of whether or not he'd be back in LA. It's possible he coaches this year, then moves back to Alberta, and John Stevens takes over as head coach. I think that's something that could happen. Or, Sutter could join the front office, too. That's something to keep an eye on as well. We'll see if his message is falling on deaf ears or not over the course of the season. He's entering his 4th full season in LA, which is weird. He took over in December of 2011. They won the Cup that year. The next year was a lockout-shortened season. So, I guess much those together, you get a full season. And then 2013-14, they won the Cup. You had a full. So, yeah, it's this 13-14, 14-15, 15-16. So, yeah, he's entering his 4th full season as head coach. I'm talking about with having a training camp and all that shit. So, again, we'll see if his message is falling on deaf ears. And, my thing is with coaches that win consistently, whether you're a Joe Quenneville, a Daryl Sutter, Bill Belichick, Greg Popovich. If you're winning, I don't see how players can block their coaches out. If you're playing for Jeff Fisher in LA, we'll just use that, and you're gonna go 8-8 every year. I can see, being a running back or receiver being like, yeah, all right, Jeff Fisher's a dope. But Daryl Sutter's won 2 cups in LA. The team had never won the Stanley Cup for the 45 years they had existed prior to that, and then Sutter comes in and changes the culture. So, I understand that's a big storyline with the Kings, but if I'm a player and you're winning games, all right, and I get Sutter can be a pain in the balls to play for, but, see what happens. Anyway, that's all I got in this episode of the Power Play with CJ. Stay tuned for more episodes for the off-season and beyond. Later, guys.